Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. Our next guest has not one, but 2 movies currently in theaters, and they couldn't be more different. Both great, though. They're both great. You can currently see Rebecca Rittenhouse in the Gus Van Sant film, Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot, as well as Unfriended, Dark Web, the sequel to one of the most clever horror films of the last few years, Unfriended. Before she gets out here, let's take a quick look at Unfriended 2, Dark Web.
Yo! Hey, buddy, how you doing?
It is game night.
Ow! Ow!
Are you ready for this? I got a new laptop.
Actually new.
There's a cyber cafe that I've been working at, and this computer was sitting in the lost and found for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Hang on, you stole someone's computer?
I didn't steal it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's messed up.
And I found this folder, it was hidden. And it automatically connects you to this thing.
Dude, this is dark web.
What's dark web?
Part of the internet where no one can track you.
It's all about drugs, illegal IDs, even assassination for hire. Hey, yeah, the dark net is mostly about the bad guys.
And this computer's got videos on it, right? Check this out.
I really think you should stop.
Oh, God.
That looked way too real. I think that is real.
Guys, that's what they're trading.
Trade what?
All those videos.
We have to do something, and we have to do it now.
Who's that?
What's happening?
Wait, guys, hold up. Where's Lex?
Wait, that's Lex's building.
No,
You guys.
No. Is that Lex?
He killed Lex!
Who?
The ones who buy the videos, the ones who pick the girls.
What the hell?
They've all been watching.
Oh my god.
That's my mom.
No! If they found Lex, can't they find the rest of us too?
They've had control this whole time.
Please, leave us alone! Get out of there right now!
I can hear you. Are you still
Kelly,
there?
I can't
just
see you.
Everybody, please welcome Rebecca Rittenhouse.
Hi. Hi.
Thanks so much for being here.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, congratulations on Unfriended, Dark Web.
Yes,
Another
very.
entry in Dark Web that is so much better than I think people expect a movie that is shot only on computer screens to be. It never ceases to exceed expectations as you watch it. It's scary, it's thrilling, and it's really clever.
Yeah, I think actually that's kind of what drew me to it was how clever it is and the twist at the end where, you know, things are bigger than you realize. And it's it's really frightening. I saw the final cut for the first time the other night at the premiere in LA, and I knew what was going to happen, and I was still having severe anxiety. And I was like, okay, this is very good.
You're like, it worked.
It worked. It worked.
So what is it like to shoot one of these movies? I mean, you are in one location for the duration of the shoot. Everybody is in, you know, we see it in the trailer exactly where you are and what you're doing. But how does that work in terms of following the arc of your story? How does that shoot go? How many days are you shooting?
It was fascinating. It was a really fast shoot. It was 5 days or something like that. Wow. And I know I was working on something else at the same time, so mine was crammed a little bit. But for the most part, I was there most of the time. And we shot it in one house, and they set each room to be a different apartment. And then we all had a laptop that had a GoPro on it with LED lights, and so that was really our lighting. And an earpiece in our ear. We could hear the director, and we could hear each other. And a couple of sound guys in each room, I think, and that was really it. And we would go through the script. We would do 50 to 60-minute takes and just plow through the script. So we kind of shot it like a play in some ways, which I think was really helpful for our performances because you could really track the whole thing. And our director was great. He let us ad-lib a lot, which is a lot of the ad-libbing is in the movie, which is fun.
Now, so you're doing, you mean 50 to 60 pages like in one day? So you're shooting for 5 days and you
Like,
would do
Yeah, like we
the
would,
whole movie in a day and then the next
yeah, well, multiple times a day, yeah.
multiple times a day. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then so I imagine they're adding all of the sort of things that are going on the computer screen later, and your job is mainly to sort of pretend you're doing some of those things on the screen.
Right, yeah. So the story is told through the one character, Matthias's computer mostly. And so you see all of that, like his Facebook and his chats and videos on his screen and all of that is built in post-production. So the post on this movie is so important. The editor was so important. And, you know, it's crazy to look back on this movie and, you know, there was a lot of it that I didn't see when we made it. You know, we just really had to imagine most of what we were seeing, you know, like all of our friends dying and stuff like that.
Yeah, so is any of that stuff shot while you're shooting it, or videos played for you that
so
you're
like,
supposed to be
you know,
reacting to?
In the movie, when without giving too much away, when my fiance is on a train platform, like I didn't see her on a train platform. You know, I just knew what was happening. So, I think if I remember correctly, I don't even think I was there when we had they're called squibs, the blood packs that explode when somebody gets shot. I think I saw any of that. I mean, I remember it was a real experiment in imagination, which was a really cool challenge as an actor, honestly.
I imagine that's a really cool challenge and also feels very vulnerable because you're like, you have no idea what it's going to look like afterwards. You have no idea what you're reacting to.
No idea. And sometimes, you know, there are moments where I was like, you know, you can see I'm a little upset in the trailer at the end. Where, you know, moments where I'm like, ooh, was that too much? Was that, you know, and I really have no idea because I don't know what I'm seeing and I'm reacting to. So, but we have a great director, Steven Sesko, and I trust him endlessly, and I think he did a really, really good job of tracking all of the performances. And also, you have to remember, each camera has all of its own footage. So there's something you can do in a film like this, which is totally unprecedented, which is you can use different takes simultaneously that are on the screen at once. You know, so he can use take 7 from Colin's camera and take 12 from my camera, which is also Betty's camera.
We can also use a take from you on Monday in the same scene, but that was, you know, like one take from Monday and one take from Thursday, but the same exact scene. It could be jump cut together as well.
Exactly, and you can never tell. And if there's any sort of weird continuity issue, it's a computer, right? So computers glitch out. So you can make a glitch effect or whatever you need to do. It's such an interesting way to make a movie. And I think it's really relatable because we all basically live on our screens, you know?
But that's such an interesting way to put it because when you watch it, you get the sense that it's a very claustrophobic way to make a movie and that there are limited options. But you're actually telling me, and I think you're absolutely right, there's actually a host of options and it's actually a quite forgivable way to make a movie.
And also, you really, I think, have to have a vision for what you want because essentially the options are endless.
Wow. So did you talk to him at all about the post process or during it, or
Yeah,
were you?
Yeah, we talked a lot about it. I mean, he was sitting and editing for a long, long time. I mean, we made this movie almost 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there were lots of different versions, and like I said, there was a lot of footage. And I think the first cut of the movie that he showed to probably Blumhouse was 2 hours and 58 minutes. So, no, it's not that long. I think it's less than
Please
90.
help me cut.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that was I have like 24,000 hours of footage, and this is as much as I can possibly cut out. Because, you know, you get attached, and there's so much ad-libbing and funny stuff in there that just came out because we inevitably developed real friendships with each other. You know, we're just recording.
You were also like kind of living in a house together. It sounds like for 5 days. Or
Yeah, we
however
weren't
long.
we weren't living there, but it felt a little bit like we were living there. And
Take lunch breaks together and go upstairs and hang
yeah,
out. You're not
exactly. And
separate.
it didn't have a huge budget, so we didn't have trailers, so we did hang out together all the time, all day.
Right. I imagine the post budget on this is almost bigger than the production budget.
I would imagine, yeah. I mean, just the sheer man hours that it takes to put something like that together.
When you signed on to do the film, what was your biggest fear?
Not understanding how to deal with this way of shooting. Right. You know, it was kind of weird to have to like look into the camera. I mean, that's bizarre, right? And so when you're talking to someone on a screen, usually your eyes are kind of down. And it was hard to remember.
Right, because you're looking at your view of them, not.
Yeah, you want to like look at least near it most of the time, so that your performance isn't just here. Yeah. So I guess I was a little bit worried about that, but then you know, we got used to it really quickly. And honestly, just the camaraderie on set and Steven's openness and willingness to collaborate with us as actors it made it such a fun, unintimidating experience. I really enjoyed it.
Now, your fiance in this is played by a great actress from
Betty Gabriel.
Betty Gabriel from Get Out.
Mm-hmm.
She's wonderful. I guess this was shot 2 years ago. So had you seen
So
it yet?
this is actually really interesting. While we were shooting this, the trailer for Get Out dropped. So we all
No.
we all watched the trailer together while we were on set. And at that point, we were all like, whoa, this is really cool and really different. But I don't think any of us had an idea how massive that movie was going to be. So that's kind of a cherished memory for me, just being there all together, experiencing that with her. And she was so relaxed and chill about it. She's like, yeah, I think it's going to be cool.
Well, of course, no one could predict that movie would become what it was. Like, I remember when the trailer came out and being like, "Oh, this looks good," and then seeing a screening of it and watching everyone go bananas over it, but still being like, "But that's what a good genre movie will do. It'll make people go bananas." And then watching that slow climb over the course of the year, where it became a Best Picture.
I know. I was like, I mean, I see it could happen. You know, I was like, if this one's Best Picture, like. You know, I'm going to send Betty a fruit bouquet or something.
But it didn't win, so you did not send her a fruit bouquet.
No, I should still do it anyway, just because who doesn't want a fruit bouquet?
So what was it like working with her as a scene partner? She's your fiance in it?
It was fantastic. Betty went to Juilliard. I don't know if I like to brag on her. She went to Juilliard. I need to repeat that as many times as possible. She's amazing. I think for her, because she is so well-trained and such a serious theater actress, she was like, whoa, ad-libbing, where's the script? Like, you know, and so that was kind of a fun experience for us to have to explore that together. And we're also the only ones in the movie who are physically together in a room. Everybody else is isolated, so I think we kind of had more fun than everybody else because...
More to play with.
Yeah, we have more to play with, and, you know, between takes or whatever, we were chatting and getting to know each other, and she's just such a cool, relaxed actor that she really just made it easy.
How has doing this movie, or how is doing this movie? Sorry, because it was 2 years ago. I'm having trouble with the tense on that.
Yeah.
How did doing this movie affect the way that you went into your performances afterwards?
Well, you know, it's. I think I can answer that question better now that I've actually seen the movie. You know, I saw it and I was like, okay, I'm really happy with how that turned out. But I definitely learned a lot from watching my performance in that. I definitely think, you know, there are some things I would change and some nuances that I would add and whatnot.
That'll never go.
That'll never, ever.
Person,
yeah, that'll never go away. But coming straight out of the experience, I think it was really nice to learn that you can do something over and over and over and over again in a film format. And you know, you do that in theater all the time, but having done it in a film format was something that I guess I never really thought that I would have to do, and I didn't know if I would be able to do. So it was nice to be able to stretch myself in that way.
Was there also an element of an exercise in letting go, since there's so much that you can't see?
Totally.
In terms, because so often when you're acting and you're on set and you're being told to do something, there's a question in your mind of like, well, why am I being told to do that? What are they doing? And where is this going to go? And how is this going to go? And within this, like, if you start asking yourself those questions, you're sort of screwed every day.
Yeah, and luckily, if you did ask yourself those questions or ask those questions out loud, Steven was right there explaining his thought process and why he felt such and such needed to come across. And so he was just a really, really great director to have in an experience like this, where you kind of felt like you were just taking a deep dive into the ocean and saying like, oh, I hope it comes together, because he really had a vision for what he wanted.
Now, you're also in Don't Worry, He Won't Get That Far on Foot.
I am. I make a little appearance in that.
Gus Van Sant's one of my favorites.
How could he not be, right?
Time.
He's
Yeah,
brilliant.
I mean, My Own Private Idaho, Drugstore Cowboy, Good Will Hunting. They're such beautiful films. And Joaquin Phoenix is one of the great actors. What was it like working with the
good.
both of them?
That was a really fun experience. That was definitely intimidating because I'm like, oh my God, I'm on a Gus Van Sant set. This is amazing. And then we actually also got to ad-lib a lot in that as well, because I think he just really wanted it to feel real and casual. And I play a character that Joaquin's character encounters really early on in his life before he's paralyzed. And so that whole scene was just kind of like one big improvisation. And it was really, I didn't want to think about it too much because I'm like, oh my God, I'm improving with Joaquin Phoenix. Like, if you start thinking that, then you're like, this is my line. I don't know how to say. You know what I mean? You just become like too rigid. So I just had to be like, okay, relax, girl. Like, you'll be fine. But it was really fun and something I value endlessly. And it was also set in the 70s, so that was cool.
There are also two people, both Gus Van Sant and Joaquin Phoenix, who, this is totally speculation on my part, that you put a lot of thought into as sort of like icons in a lot of ways, especially Gus. I mean, Joaquin's a great actor, but I think especially Gus. And then in order for them to be able to do the work that they do, they have to be normal people while doing the work.
Totally.
Like, they can't exist.
No.
It's like I was listening to an interview with Gus Van Sant recently, and it was like, oh, you're brilliant, but you don't talk like someone who thinks of themselves as brilliant.
No,
you
not
talk
at
like
all.
someone who's just doing work.
So humble,
Yeah.
loves what he's doing, so kind, so really generous, and just was very nice to me on set and made me feel welcome. And it was a very valuable experience for me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's get some questions from our audience. Who has a question? You, sir, go.
Hey.
You.
Hi.
So I was reading that it was a super secretive set, or that the production was very secretive about the project before it came out, and then
About Unfriended?
yeah, Unfriended, and that once it came out in South by Southwest, there was a different ending, and there might be different endings in theaters. I don't know.
Yeah,
if you,
I heard that. I don't know anything about that. I know
Okay.
one ending I saw. I won't give that away, obviously, but as far as I know, there's an ending. And that's it. So I'm sorry. I wish I knew the answer to that question.
But since it was shot 2 years ago, did you have to keep it a secret the whole time? Could you still talk about it with the project?
About
with
this
people?
endings thing?
Or just the movie itself?
Oh, well, when I got the script, it was originally called Exploit. It was called something totally different, and that has to do with the story point in the movie. So I didn't know. But then when we started working together, we all watched a little screening of Unfriended, of the original, at Blumhouse. And so that they could give us an idea of what we were doing. Even though our story is very different from the original, I would say really the only similarity is the way in which it's shot.
I think they refer to it as like a standalone sequel kind of thing, and that it doesn't refer back to, or
Right.
Yeah.
Not at all. And that this has nothing to do with the paranormal. That movie is solely based in the paranormal. And those characters are, I think they're a little less likable just because they all have secrets and they're lying to each other. And our little friend group is quite precious in the movie, I think.
I didn't hear anything about different endings either, but that's pretty cool. But it is because there is a moment where someone references in the movie, are there different ways that this could have gone if we
Right.
had done this a different
Right.
way?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have no idea. I mean, they're probably not telling me so that I don't like spill the beans or something because I literally have no idea.
I don't know. I imagine if there were different endings, they would have everybody out telling people that there are different endings so that they would go see it as many times as possible.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi, I'm just wondering if you had any like lessons or takeaways from the filming of this process, especially like in social media. Like, did you learn anything new, or like maybe you shouldn't do that, or?
Yeah. It was a eye-opening experience because the internet is very scary, obviously, and you just have to be aware of what you're putting out there. Like, I had a friend who was filming something on location and living in a house, and some people put together where exactly he lived based on backgrounds of images. So, like, that's the type of thing that's like, well, you put it out there, you have to be aware of it, and, like, cover the camera on your laptop and stuff like that. It sounds so crazy. Or, like, if you have a Wi-Fi password that connects to security cameras, like, make sure it's real complicated. Just make sure it's hack-proof because this stuff is crazy scary.
Yeah, when I was watching it, the person that I was watching it with kept going, "This is why I don't do this stuff.
Yeah.
This is why I don't use my computer for any of this
Yeah.
stuff."
Yeah.
I was like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you worry about that though, as a
Totally. I'm
person
an
in the
extremely
public eye?
paranoid person. No, and not even as a person in the public eye. I'm just like a paranoid, crazy person. Like when I was living in Paris for a little while I was in college, and this was not founded in any reality whatsoever, but every single night I couldn't fall asleep until like 3 or 4 in the morning because I was like, well, tonight's the night, I'm getting murdered. Thinking like I was just crazy, and like that's just who I am. But the world is a scary place, you gotta keep your private stuff private, and watch what you're doing.
And watch Unfriended Dark Web because it's a really fun, exciting movie.
Super fun,
as
yeah.
well.
No, listen, if you like scary movies, this is the movie to see.
Yeah, I agree. It comes out this weekend in theaters everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And it's really great. It's really fun. And don't worry, you won't get far on foot. Is in theaters right now.
Yeah,
Check it out. But Unfriended Dark Web this Friday. Go check it out and give Rebecca a round of applause. Let's hear it, everybody.
Thank you for having me.